in Georgia. They had a rally earlier this morning. We're going to play that out for you here on News Now from Fox because we like to keep it balanced. Live, raw, and unfiltered feeds all throughout the day. So we'll play that out, and then if Biden comes up to the camera again, we'll cut in and play that out for you as well. I'm going to send some of you off to a 2-minute commercial break. When you come back, we're talking about this Peach State showdown that only is picking up speed.
(52886) and just put in volunteer. That should take you to a website that'll sign you up. We'll tell you how you can help. You can knock on doors, you can text, you can call. As Debbie said, calls are the best because you reach somebody and you make sure you convert them. Knocking on doors is hard, but man, that works. We're going to knock on 1 million doors with our effort this time around to tell Georgians what's at stake. So do that if you could, 52886, and help us out, volunteer. So our next speaker is one of our coalition partners. He, in this election, has been working hard to stand up for families. I want to give you my good friend Terry Schelling, the American Principles Project. Terry.
Thank you, Dave. Before I get going, I just want to point something out. Not a single conservative in the House of Representatives lost their election this year for running for election. That's great, but you know who's responsible for that? It's the Club for Growth. So can we give Dave McIntosh and the Club for Growth to put this floor on a round of applause? We're all here as a big coalition. You've got dynamic speakers across the board. We're here to do 2 things: win Georgia and save America. That's what this election's about. And I would say one more thing, and this is why I'm here. We need to save America, and we need to save the family. These Democrats are nuts. John Ossoff and Warnock, or whatever his name is, they are attacking families left and right. They're teaching our kids that America is evil. Have you guys seen the 1619 Project? They don't tell our kids that we're found on liberty and life and the pursuit of happiness. It tells us we're found on slavery and oppression and tyranny. It's not true. We know that's false. They're confusing our kids about gender. They want to let boys compete against our daughters in sports. It's ridiculous. And we have to stand up to them. I'm here because Kelly Loeffler has been a leader on these issues. Kelly Loeffler, about a month and a half ago, introduced the Save Women's Sports Act to keep boys out of our daughters' sports. I've got 2 daughters. I've got 3 sons, too. I've got a lot of kids. I'm Catholic. But Senator Loeffler has been a courageous champion. She's been stalwart, and she's been amazing. And so is David Perdue. You've got 2 great people who are going to save America and save the family. So I need you guys to vote. Yesterday was the first day of early voting. How many of you, raise your hands, how many of you have already voted? Wow, guys. Only a few hands. Listen, you got to vote. You got to vote. If you can't vote, vote in person. They can't steal your vote if you vote in person. Vote in person today if you can.
I voted in person early. The poll worker asked to see my ballot to see what standard. That's why we want to wait until the last day.
No, okay, that's fine. That's fine. And the Club for Growth has great poll watchers, and there's a lot of people in here that are coming as a cavalry. And so, listen, we have to vote. We have to show up. We have to show out even more to counteract the voter fraud and the cheating that the Democrats are going to do. So listen, we have to vote. We have to show up. We have to save America, save the family. But before we can do either of those things, we have to win Georgia. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you for all you're doing to help make this happen. And Terry's right, it really is up to you. We're here to help. We're going to spend $10 million, knock on 1 million doors, send 2 million texts, probably send 5 million pieces of mail. They're a little bit obnoxious. They basically say your neighbor's going to know if you voted or not, so be sure and vote. But what it does is it helps remind Republicans to get out and vote. Our next speaker is a man that I've been pleased to know and work with in Washington for many years. He served in Congress, he represented Georgia there, and he worked with President Trump as his Secretary of Health and Human Services. Let me give you Dr. Tom Price.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning. We got a beautiful, crisp Georgia December morning. And I want to thank you all for coming out on this incredibly important day and incredibly important race. A big shout out to Club for Growth and Save America Coalition for doing this work. incredibly important. Many of you will know that before I went to Congress and before I went and served in the Department of Health and Human Services, I was a physician. I was an orthopedic surgeon. I practiced up in the metro Atlanta area for over 25 years. And I got a lot of good physician friends around here. Give them a round of applause, the healthcare folks. And I can tell you that the healthcare system is not moving in the right direction. Costs are going up, choices are going down, and healthcare seems to be the poster child for regulation in Washington. So much so that virtually every regulation that comes out just makes it that much more difficult for these folks to do their job and take care of you and all of us. And I can tell you that sometimes even when they say something is good, it turns in the wrong direction. So they talk about the increase in coverage. Folks have more coverage, but there are many people who have coverage. They got an insurance card, but they don't have any care. Because if your deductible is $6,500 or $8,500 or $10,000, which many of them are, I hear from my former colleagues and they say, I've told this patient what needs to be done, and they go to the front desk and they say, well, that's going to cost, because your deductible hasn't been met, that's going to cost this, and they say, I can't do that. So they've got an insurance card, but they don't have any care. So I like to talk about the principles of health care. Everybody, we all want a system that's accessible for folks. We want a system that's of the highest quality. We want a system that's affordable, that allows patients the choices to decide who's taking care of them, when they're being taken care of, and the like. And I can tell you that our current system is making all of those things more difficult. Access is going down. Costs are going up. Choices are going down. And certainly quality, I would argue, is not being improved. So improving or enhancing or strengthening Obamacare is not the answer to our health care challenges. It simply isn't. And God forbid the government takeover and a single-payer system, which would make all of those things that much more difficult. So I'm here to tell you that the right prescription for America is to re-elect Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. And I saw the number of hands, thank you, sir, for voting yesterday. I saw that I didn't vote yesterday either because the lines are usually too bad on the first day. But I saw the number of hands that went up, and I'm here to tell you that getting out and voting is incredibly important, but it's not sufficient. The other side, the left, has perfected the art of harvesting absentee ballots. We've just got to admit that and recognize that. And that means we've got to perfect the art of harvesting people. We need to make certain that we get every one of your friends and neighbors and anybody you know in this state, anywhere in this state, that's of like mind, to get out and vote. This is absolutely vital for the survival of this nation. So thanks for what you're doing. I know that you're going to do more all the way through to January 5th. God bless you. God bless America.
Thank you, Tom. He's a great American. Thank you, Georgia, for sending him to us. You know, he just mentioned one of the things that will happen if we lose these Senate races, right? We're going to get Obamacare on steroids, eventually government care, you know, with all of the efficiency of the post office and the compassion of the IRS, right? That's what they're trying to give us. We gotta stop that. But let's talk about a few other things. You know, they want to pack the Supreme Court. How many of you there were cheering when Amy Coney Barrett got nominated and confirmed? Wasn't she great? Well, they want to undo that by adding 4 more liberal justices who will stop everything that she's going to do. They want to pack the Senate, add 2 more from Washington, D.C., and 2 more from Puerto Rico, and make sure that Republicans could never get the majority there. And then they want to raise your taxes, right? $1,500 for every family in America. And then they want to open the border, you name it. They've got one plan after the other to fundamentally change our country, tear up our Constitution, get rid of our freedom, Second Amendment right, that's out the door. They'll try to confiscate the guns, you name it. And that's what we have to stop by winning these races and win America. One of the things that I've noticed is that the younger folks who are running for Congress have the passion to defend those rights. And I want to present to you one of the people who did that across our country. She was up in Illinois, a very blue state, and bravely took on the challenge of running for Congress. Let me give you Catalina Luna. Loud. I'm sorry, Catalina Loud.
Thank you very much.
we enjoy our liberty. And if this girl here from Illinois can tell you one thing, I speak on behalf of all of Illinoisans. We want you to keep your weather here in Georgia. We want you to keep your politics. Georgia, you are not a blue state. You are a red state, and you must remain that way. Let me tell you what happens in Illinois. Gun control, debt, we're overregulated, corruption. And what happens when you lose these 2 Senate seats? They smell blood in the water, and they see it, and they think their state is turning blue. They will go down to the local levels, they will go down to the county level, and they will do everything that they can to preserve their power. So let me tell you what's on the line here for your state. It is huge that you please do everything that you can. Get your neighbors to vote, your in-laws to vote, everybody you can to come out and vote, because it is all on the line here in Georgia. And most of all, you have to save the country. This is our last stand. Guys, I came here, my family came here from Latin America. They had nothing. They grew up in poverty, corruption, war, to find freedom and opportunity here in the greatest country in the world. We are the greatest country in the world, even on our worst day. On our worst day. And we must fight for the American dream, not only for your children, but for your grandchildren. And it is all on the line here on January 5th. So please do what you can to elect Senator Loeffler and David Perdue here. We are counting on you up in deep blue states, and most of all, the country is counting on you. Your children, your grandchildren are counting on you. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to the Club for Growth for all that they're doing and putting together these rallies. We're all here because we care. You all are here because you care. So we cannot do it without you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Catalina. Okay, I want to get us going here. We've talked about how important this race is, how key to saving the country Georgia is, but the way we're going to win this race is by voting, right? So I want to start a little chant. In fact, I'd love to get it. We'll do a couple of them, but I'd love the folks down at the Capitol in Atlanta to hear this chant. How are we going to win? We're going to vote. So I'm going to ask you, and then I want to hear your response. How are we going to win? Vote! How are we going to win? Vote! How are we going to win? Vote! Yes! Georgia said it all. Thank you. Bless you, each and every one of you. I want to bring up another man who ran for Congress, and I think he's going to get there. I hope he runs again. Down in Texas, he spoke for the Cruz, and it was a tough race. But let me give you Wesley Hunt. Wesley!
First of all, it's an honor and a privilege to be surrounded by patriots, especially at this time of day, hailing from Texas. I want to let you all know how important this race is. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. I kissed my 3-year-old baby daughter goodbye and my 2-month-old baby daughter goodbye to come here to do our best to preserve our republic. That's how important this is, and that's how important your service is for the future is going to be for our country. I come from a family of service members. My dad did 23 years in the Army. My sister went to West Point, my family first. I went to West Point, my family second. My brother went to West Point, my family third. And I tell that story because there's about 60 years worth of military service just in my immediate family. Thank you. God calls us to serve in many ways, and for some of us it's kinetic operations overseas, and for you it's going to be to get out and vote to make sure that we stop the left from destroying our country. I want to tell you one quick story, my favorite story. I have a lot of West Point stories, as you can probably imagine, given my family's history. I spent a semester living in what is called Robert E. Lee Barracks. You see, our barracks at West Point are named after former presidents and generals that have gone on to do great things like Eisenhower and MacArthur. And of course, it's Robert E. Lee Barracks. And here I am walking through this threshold every day, thinking to myself, wow, this is one heck of a country. For here I am living in a barracks with a Confederate general that fought against the rights of people that look like me. And I was so proud of the fact where I am not defined by a name on a building or by a statue. I'm defined first by being an American, I'm defined by being a patriot, hard work, grit, determination, like everyone here, and regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed. That's why we're all standing here today, to preserve just that. 2004, my class at West Point, we lost 14 classmates in the global war on terror. I think of them every single day. We get to arise in the morning and put our feet on free, sovereign American soil and breathe free American air because they died for it. The least we can do is to continue to honor their sacrifice and their service by preserving what we have here in this country, and that's why you're here. I'm honored by your presence. God bless you all. Please get out and vote to save our country.
Thank you, Wesley. Thank you for your service and your words. Let's take a minute. How many of you in the audience have served? How many of you are veterans? Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's hear it for them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your service to our country. We so appreciate it. How many of you are in one of the police departments in service there, or have a family member that is? Raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank your family for doing that. You know, one of the things that they call him Reverend Warnock, we started calling him Reverend Warlock. One of the things he wants to do is completely defund the police, right? And we talked about it. Kim mentioned what that would do up in Baltimore. What will that do in our neighborhood? The same thing, right? We got to stop that. We can't let them go to Washington and get the majority and do that. Our next speaker is one of the candidates that Club for Growth endorsed, and he ran down in Florida. He's going to be a mighty voice up in Congress. I'm going to let you hear from him, and you'll know just why we were so enthusiastic about him. Let me give you Byron Donalds. Byron.
Alpharetta! Listen, I gotta tell y'all a little something, okay? I'm mad, Georgia. My district's down in Florida. It's like 70 degrees right now. All right? But let me tell you why I'm mad. I'm mad because your Secretary of State was asleep at the wheel. I'm mad because your Secretary of State, for some reason, I have no idea why, thought that signatures didn't matter when it comes to absentee ballots. I like what he said. I'm mad because in Florida, we kind of figured this whole thing out 20 years ago. And we fixed it. We got rid of ballot harvesting in Florida last year because we knew what the left was trying to do. So why am I mad? Well, number one, it's cold out here. But number two, it's Christmas. We should be celebrating with our families. We should be enjoying the fact that we got through 2020 together. But now we gotta work. We gotta go save the country again. So I don't know about you, but I'm mad about that. But what do you do when you get mad? What do you do when you feel that somebody stole something? No, here's what you do. You beat them like they stole something. You see, Alpharetta, you got a job to do right now. And that's to make sure you get out and work, you get people to the polls, you make sure they vote. Mrs. PERDUE said it. She said it to you. She said, get in your phones. She said 10 people. I'm telling you 50. We need all the votes. We need them all. You know, they were handing me this stuff on the side, all this campaign literature, door hangers, stuff that comes to your mailbox, and things you get sick of seeing. I get sick of them too. But this stuff doesn't win elections. You win elections. Candidate speeches don't win elections. Your hard work wins elections. So Georgia, I'm mad for you. You should be mad too. But here's what you do when you're mad. You don't pout, you go win. So who's ready to go win? No, that's not good enough, Georgia. Who's ready to go win on January 5th? Get out, vote. Say that again. Vote, 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 vote. Georgia, I'm going to Congress. And in the House, let me tell you, we have a whole class of leaders and patriots who are fired up and ready to go. And we're going to fight with you. But we need you to do your part on January 5th. Get out and vote. Get people out and vote. The young people over there in the corner, I see you with your mask on, huddle up, you to use a body heat. Be mad y'all here in the cold. Get people out and vote. God bless you, Alpharetta. I love y'all. Let's do it.
God bless you. Thank you, Alpharetta. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene's been with us. She's going to be at some of the later stops, too. She talked about a little bit what Byron was saying, and she said to her constituents, we're going to take care of that in 2 years. That's Georgia family business. We're going to replace that Secretary of State. So I leave that to you, and I thank you for taking care of that. But today we got to win these races. As Byron said, can't step back and say it's all screwed up. We got to win, send the message that we can do it. We can do it. Our next speaker is another one of the members, one of Byron's classmates from the neighboring state over in Alabama. I want to give you Barry Moore.
How we doing, everybody? Okay, so this comes down, you got a choice. You can vote for a gentleman who's running on the Democratic ticket that says he's a pastor but for abortion. I don't understand that. In my own mind, from the great state of Alabama, I cannot make that connection. But what I can tell you is this. It is a spiritual battle for the future of our nation. August 21st, 2015, a guy y'all may have heard of by the name of Donald Trump came to Mobile, Alabama. It was his first event outside. My wife and I were in a bus much like this on the south end of the stadium, and they said, would anybody be willing to endorse this man for president? We didn't have that answer at that time. We walked down the hallway and we prayed. We walked out into a stadium with 30,000 people and became the first elected official in the nation to endorse then a man called Donald Trump. 1% chance he had of getting the nomination. 0% chance he had to beat Hillary. What we've just seen happen in the great state of Georgia and across the country, it's not over. It's not over. The fight is just now beginning. We were waking up. We're seeing what's going on. Now, my classmate, you just heard from one of this 117th class. We're a group of populace. We're outside the system. We were the big money funding candidates. We were the people that represented you, the people. The system in D.C. is broken. Now, Zechariah says it can't just be by might. It can't be just by strength, but by the Spirit of the Lord. When I tell you guys that we're battling a party that'll let a baby born alive die, and we think they won't cheat in elections, we're wrong. We're up against a spiritual battle for the future of the country, and I believe that. We're called for such a time as this. On January the 5th, Georgia has a chance to set the record straight. Y'all, it really is 1776 all over again. Average Americans now have a chance to change the destiny of the country. On January the 6th, me and some of my freshman classmates will go on the floor of Congress and we will protest the delegates from those states. We're going to protest the delegates from those states. It is the last line in the sand that we plan to stand. So we're going to kneel before the Lord and then we're going to stand and fight. But on January the 6th at 1 p.m., we need your prayers. We need your support. God bless America. God bless the
Thank you, Barry. We can thank God that he's sending people like him up to Washington. And we've got more. You know, the American people, when you look at all of the races in Congress, they made great choices this year. They made great choices. We were disappointed about how they stole the election for president. But the future, God's providing for the future. And one of the people he said from North Carolina is a good friend of mine. He's right here. He is the future of the Republican Party. He's going to tell us like it is. Let me give you Madison Cawthorn. Madison.
Good morning, everybody. It is so great to be out here. I love seeing all these Patriots. I honestly have missed being on the campaign trail. I've been up in Washington, D.C., and it is not nearly as fun as being around normal Americans. I can assure you, Washington, the people up there, you know, when they talk about these career politicians, when they talk about the people back in their districts, it's with contempt. They're like, oh, you gotta go hang out with those uneducated people back in your district. I said, I am one of those rednecks in my district. That's who I am because I'm one of you. I'll tell you, this party, the Republican Party, is being redefined. We're not the party of no anymore. We're not the party that's going to sit by on the sidelines and allow the Democrats to radically change our country. We are the party of freedom. We are the party that wants you to live your life on your own terms. Without these three-letter agencies, our big government telling you what to do, how many people you can have in your home, when you can leave your house, what you have to wear on your face, if you can make a living. No, the Republican Party is going to fight back. Now let me tell you, the people, we all know who to vote for in this Senate race, but I'm sure that many of you have people that don't know who they're going to vote for. And when you have to convince them, it's very easy to do so. You just tell them it's plain more fun to be a Republican. You see, we don't live in this constant state of outrage where we have to yell and scream and burn a city down to feel like we're helping somebody. To shut down a business to feel like we're helping somebody in the name of social justice. No, we are the party of freedom that is going to say, live your life on your own terms. Let us let you go to work. Let's get taxes out of your life. Let's pull the federal government back. So when you are talking to people, explain to them that being a Republican is more fun. First of all, because we can get together and actually be around fellow Americans. But second of all, because being a Republican is the moral and right thing to do with your life. Being a Republican means that you care about the sanctity of life. I see we have some medical workers over here. You all know just how important it is that we have a government that is going to get out of your way with regulation so that you can get to work saving people. And I want to thank you for what you all are doing. Being a Republican means we are going to allow you to have free speech, to have freedom of religion. We are going to allow you to live life like you are supposed to. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm asking you, go out and explain to people that you can say Republican if you want to, but just say it's conservatives, because the Republican Party for so long has been filled with cowardice, unwilling to stand up and fight for what needs to be done. But I tell you, there's a new Republican Party rising, one that is going to fight back against the left, one that is going to fight back against stealing elections, one that is going to take the Senate, and I'll tell you, next cycle we will take the House. We will send Nancy Pelosi back to her district where she can pick up a needle. But ladies and gentlemen, for us to be able to do that, we need you to hold the line. I don't know why the Democrats decided they wanted to have the final battle for the fate of America in Georgia, because I'll tell you, Georgia is a bunch of real Americans. Georgia isn't going to back down. Georgia has a spine like mine, made out of titanium. It's not going to bend. It's not going to break. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you. Go out and make more Republicans. Thank you.
Thank you, Madison. Let's hear it for him. He's going to be a fighter in Washington. Yeah. We need him. Yeah, we need people like him. Young men and women that will stand up and fight. I want to give to you now a fellow Hoosier. He's been there a couple years, but he hasn't been corrupted by the swamp. And he just took over a very key position. There's a group of conservatives called the Republican Study Committee, and they tell not only Pelosi, but they tell the Republican leadership, we're going to stand for what we stand for, right? We're going to fight for what we believe in, for American principles, for our rights, for freedom. And Jim's the man now leading the point. They're going to try to punish him. You know, that's what they do up in Washington. They try to twist you, they offer you money, and then if you don't take the money, they say, well, we're going to punish you and make your life heck. But Jim is strong, and he's coming down here with us on this bus tour because he knows what's at stake in Georgia. Let me give you Jim Banks.
David, how the heck do I follow Madison Coffin? I mean, come on, how about that young man? He's going to be a great fighter in the House of Representatives, exactly where we want. My friends, I'm from the great state of Indiana. I've served in Congress for 4 years, and let me tell you, the last 4 years, we have had the greatest president of my lifetime. I happen to think we've had the greatest vice president we've ever had, too, right? How about Mike Pence? I'm here today in Georgia for very selfish reasons. I know that Georgians are like Hoosiers. You don't like to be told what to do, right? and you especially don't like people from other states coming here to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do because everyone here knows what to do, right? You know who to vote for. You know what you need to do to go get every family member, every friend to get out and vote, right? I'm here for very selfish reasons. I want to go back home to the state of Indiana and tell my constituents that I came here and did my part to help save America in Georgia. And I also want to look in the eyes of my 3 daughters, 11, 9, and 7 years old. And I want them, more than anybody, to know that I went down to Georgia and I fought the fight to help rally the troops to get out the vote and save America. I've worked alongside both Senator Perdue and Senator LOEFFLER. Let me tell you.
You're watching News Now from Fox. Just wanted to update you on what's going on here. We have that rally in Georgia from earlier this morning in that top left-hand box where GOP leaders are campaigning for Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue. In the bottom right-hand corner, we're expecting an update from GOP officials in the Senate. I believe they're talking about COVID-19 stimulus. Steve Mnuchin is in a room talking about a relief plan. McConnell said that they are not going to leave session until they have something figured out. So we might be getting some breaking news today on this COVID-19 relief. So we just wanted to update you here on News Now from Fox. I'm going to send some of you off to a 2-minute commercial break, but when you come back, we have GOP updates from across the country.
What AOC said, she said we have to win Georgia so that we do not have to negotiate with the Republicans. This is the group she doesn't want to negotiate with, and I can't blame her because they're going to eat her alive. And I tell you what, and I know we had in this group some dear business, but I got to tell you, when I got to Congress, just like this group, we were in the minority. And we had to fight and claw and set the stage for the next group that got us the majority. So I'm looking at the majority class right here, all of y'all. AOC said they don't want to negotiate with us, and Chuck Schumer said we got to win Georgia so that we can change America. Well, what does he not like about America? I mean, I know there's things we got to change, but as the great Tim Scott said at the convention, he said, you know, we're not where we can be, but we're a lot better off than we used to be, and this is still the greatest country the world has ever seen. And I was with Tim Scott this weekend in Savannah. We had a great time. We missed all y'all. We had Roy Blunt, Marshall Blackburn, Herschel Walker, and we had Ed Rollin. I don't know if y'all know him. He's almost a native son. You know him. He's the lead singer of Collective Soul, and I've got to tell you, anytime we have an entertainer or a Hollywood type on the Republican side, they are an endangered species, and we've got to embrace it. But we're thankful for y'all getting him to good Republican values when he was young. And of course, we had David and we had Kelly, and they did a great job. And Coach, we had Herschel Walker there. And you know I'm an Athens, Georgia boy. I grew down the street from Vince Dooley, but I am so proud to have gotten to know Tommy Tuberville, and he's part of that young freshman class. Let me ask y'all this. How many of y'all have a 5-year-old, not a 5-year-old kid, a 5-year-old cell phone? Raise your hand. Now we Georgia, we got 1, we got 2, we got 3. Y'all know Christmas is coming, right? I just wanted to give you an idea. Think about it, though. When we in Georgia think about the Democrat Party and we compare the situation we're in with what Paul Coverdale went through or Saxby Chambliss went through, and we say to ourselves, well, Republicans know how to get back to the polls. Republicans know this runoff game. We always win. We're going to be okay. That's like comparing the Democrat Party to a 5-year-old cell phone. I'm telling y'all, Stacey Abrams has been getting George Soros money now for 8 years in a row. And she gets Bloomberg's and she gets Tom Steyer's. And if you think they're not going to cut several million more dollars worth of checks between now and the 5th of January, we're fooling ourselves. It is a brand new game. Now, I've already voted. I got to tell you, David asked y'all how many of y'all voted. I was a little disappointed. But Tom Price, Tom, you said they could go down to the library right now. Tom, you know where the library is? I mean, it's out. I know Betty does. you got to go ahead and vote because you never know what's going to happen between now and election day. I mean, the game's changed. I don't like the rules any more than you, but I voted early. I voted absentee ballot because I don't want to take that chance of a flat tire or a sick family member or something happening, and we just can't do it. 5 million voted. David Perdue beat John Ossoff by 88,000 votes. Kelly Loeffler with Doug Collins beat liberal, radical, Raphael, or RLR, as some people call him. Now, you got to think about that. All that means is we got to show up to vote. And you know what? If you didn't vote the first time, you probably aren't going to vote the second time. I think it's probably just not worth it. It's wasted time. Now, we got to get everybody to vote, but generally speaking, the people who voted the first time are the people who got to vote the second time. And that means each and every one of you and your neighbors, and we just cannot stop. Now, let me get back to this. As Byron said, he's from Florida. I'm from Savannah. We rarely even own a coat down there. If we own one, we don't have to wear it. But I am proud to be up here in this cold North Georgia weather supporting the guy that I ran against. David Perdue and I duked it out for about 15 months. His sister Debbie knows it very well, but I'm proud that on election night, which was certainly one of the worst nights of my life, 10 o'clock, I'll put it this way, 9:30 I was winning, 10:30 it got tough, and it was all over with by 11, and 11:01 I endorsed David Perdue. And I can tell you, it was a hard thing to do, but ladies and gentlemen, the United States of America is far more important than where my little old race fits in, or where my ego fits in, or where my inconvenience fits in, or what you're doing on election day, or what you're not doing, or who you're mad at. Forget some of these tweets that are out there, and these people who are telling Republicans to stay at home, they don't like the system. One of them is a doggone Democrat. And if you don't believe me, you can check how Lynn Wood votes. And I'm not here to attack him, but I'm telling you, do not let these people talk us into staying home on election day. We have got to show up. And if an Athens, Georgia boy can come up here and praise the coach of Auburn, you know we can get this job done. Ladies and gentlemen, let's win it. Not just for the giver. Let's win it for Tommy. Let's win it for Kelly. Let's win it for David. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. I think what he meant to say was go Dogs. Thank you. And I'm not going to take a lot of time introducing our next speaker. We're waiting for him. He's a great man. We helped him win in Alabama, but he needs David and Kelly there so he can make a difference in Washington. Coach, come on up.
Thank you very much. I heard that. Worried. You know, every time I came across that Chattahoochee River when I was coaching at Auburn, I knew I was in for a damn fight. And I know you're going to put up a fight for Kelly and David. In January, folks, we got no choice. We got to win. We have got to win this battle. It's on that bus right there. We have got to save America. You know, people have asked me, you know what coaches make. I don't need the money. I'm not taking the salary in Washington. I'm giving it to the veterans of the state of Alabama. I am not a politician. I'm an outsider. I am sick of politicians. I want to go out and make a difference. Now, this is not about party. This is about America. This vote is about America. I ran for 2 years. People say, Coach, you don't need the money. You don't need the job. I don't need this job. I wanted the job. I wanted to go help. My dad landed at age 18 in Normandy, drove a tank across Europe. He fought. He won 5 Bronze Stars and a Purple Heart. At age 18, I couldn't get my kids out of bed at 18. He said, son, I was scared to death, cold. I lost friends every day. Folks, 76 years ago, my dad fought against socialism in Europe. 76 years later, we're fighting against socialism right here on our soil. And I am sick of it. I am sick of it. We have got to fight for this country and our kids. I know we got people here that are Democrats. They're going to vote the other way. You better think about what you're doing. You better think about it. Because the country that you're voting for, if you vote for these clowns up there to run this country, it's going to be a disaster. Now, I coached minorities most of my life. I loved every one of them. I raised them. I taught them right. You know what I've always told? No matter who played for me, I was prejudiced. I was prejudiced for the ones that worked hard, that wanted to do right, that wanted to earn their way. I told them, listen, if you were born in this country, you hit the lottery. There ain't no better place on the face of this earth. I promise you, I've been to all of them. I've been all over this world. And my gosh, I can't wait to get back. This is the greatest place on the face of the earth, and for some reason, we got people trying to tear it down and turn it into those places overseas. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. People ask me on the campaign tour for 2 years now. I ran every day. Every day. My wife said, "You've lost your mind." I said, "No, I want to help save this country. I want to help save this country." For 2 years, every day, I ran to win this Senate seat. And the people of Alabama put me in this seat. And I'm excited about it. Now I need David and Kelly to be up there, back up there, to help keep this majority, to get this system shut down that the Democrats are trying to put up there, to make sure that we go back to the American way. I'm telling you one thing, though, now. I'm telling you, I hate big government. I hate it. We need to turn this country back to the American people, the taxpayers, people that pay the taxes in this country. We need to turn it back. But I used to tell my players, listen, guys, here's the thing. You might be mad about things maybe in this country or this football team about me. That's fine. But the one thing about that you can't complain about this country is it owes you one thing. It don't owe you the right to go to college free. It don't owe you that. You don't deserve free health care. You go earn it yourself. The only thing this country gives you is an opportunity. An opportunity, and I want you to think about this, it gives you an opportunity to fail. A football coach talked about failing. Folks, let me tell you something. In this country, you're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. But as I told the players, this country gives you a chance to fail, and then it gives you a chance to get back on your knees and fight like heck to get whatever you want out of the United States of America. It gives you that. And that's what I'm so proud of. But we're having people in this country now that says, we don't want to do that. We don't want to give you a chance to fail or be successful. We're going to give you a little bit of the penance of what we think you need to have, and we're going to tell you what you can do. If you want socialism, move to California. I want you to think about this. I said this on the campaign trail when this fire started. You go out there and you look at what's happening. The government out there tells them when they go to church, or if they can, if they go to work, when they go eat, anything that they do, whether they get on an airplane, that is socialism. We have lost California. Now we're going to get it back, but to this point we've lost it. But we're not going to let this country, whole country, go like California. It is time to make a decision. It is time to make a decision and send people to Washington, D.C. They don't have to be lawyers. I'm a dang football coach. But you know what? I've had a job for 40 years. And I've been out there and I've been in the homes. I've been in the rich homes, the poor homes, and the middle class homes. And that's in this country, I'll tell you. But I know why we're in those situations. And that's why I'm running. I want to give everybody an opportunity to have a piece of the pie. I want to give everybody that opportunity. And so I'm going to go work hard for you. I'm going to go work hard for the people of Alabama, and I'm going to work hard for the people all over this country. And folks, we need people up there that will make decisions for this country and not for their pocketbook. And all you got to do now is look what's going on. Republican and Democrat, look what's going on. China has got us by the throat. And if we don't fight back, we're going to lose more and more every day. You young people out there, and there's some of you here that are Democrats. I know you're here. You're here. And if you keep fighting for this, you're going to wish to heck in about 10 or 15 years, what have we done? What have we done? You got the greatest place on the face of the earth. Nothing's been ever closer. But the problem we're having, and I'm going to fight for this too, and if we don't get God back in our schools and back in our lives, we will not make it. We will not make it. So, education's big on my agenda, and I'm telling you, I've been in some of these schools and I'm embarrassed what they teach. Embarrassed. We all should be embarrassed how we've turned our education over to the Looney Tunes. We have. We don't teach history anymore. We don't teach math. We don't teach science. We teach climate change. My God, folks, the climate has changed with that guy right up there in heaven. Now, we can take care of our world, and the United States does better on it than anybody. Anybody. But we better get our young people back into school, learning about this country. The fundamentals of this country are what win. It won in football for me, and it's going to win in this country. We've got to get back to our fundamentals. So I want you to fight and pray for the next few weeks till we get this election. Everybody call 25, 50 people, get them to go vote. That is your job. You have got to do it. Don't sit at home watching football or whatever. Get on the phone and call people. You got to go vote. You got to go vote. You got to go vote. If we lose this in 3 weeks to the Democrats, folks, it is over the way that we do the United States of America. And our kids and grandkids will not see it. That's how important this is. That is how important this is. I pray that you all do that. Thank you for letting me come over today and be a part of this. Go vote. Go vote. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Coach. Awesome. And he's right. Go vote. So how are we going to win? Vote. How are we going to win? Vote. How are we going to win? Vote. And then, when Georgia wins, when you win,